Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Dylan James, and I'm a mindset coach that loves to specifically focus on relationships. However, I'm not just limited to helping you with relationships. So if there are other areas of your life that you're looking to create peace, harmony, or abundance in, then feel free to reach out to me. Well, actually, my coaching services are closed to like mid-July, so you may have to wait a little bit before you reach out to me, but I will be opening them back up again soon. There are a few things I want to say, though. Remember, life is not happening to you, it's happening through you. When you become the change you seek to experience, you're going to experience that change everywhere you go. You are showing the world how to treat you based on what you believe and feel about yourself at a core subconscious foundational level. And you're creating your reality in a moment-to-moment basis based on the meaning and the value that you assign to the things occurring around you. And really, to sum it all up, mastering the art of creating your reality is really about, like, if I could sum up what this whole law of attraction, law of assumption, creating your reality really is in 2 sentences, I would say it is learning how to discipline your awareness. So in your internal mind, discipline your awareness in a new direction and relax, okay? And doing things that help you relax and keep your awareness in this new state of being, which creates a new result. Okay. So every time I've been going live, I'm not sure why this is happening, but I can't see the chat, you guys. So if you're writing things to me, I'm not going to be able to see it right now. It's just not populating on my YouTube page here. So if you're like putting money into the chat, thank you so much. I just really can't see, but anybody is writing there. So I apologize if you're writing and I'm not responding to it. It's just because I can't see. All right. So in today's video, I want to talk about stabilizing your state of being, what I personally do if I find myself in a resistant state of being, and I get very, very, very disciplined, you guys, with my mindset, because the key thing here for shifting out of undesirable circumstances is to realize that the more you focus on them internally, the more it's going to build momentum. And so in order to really create a lasting change, you need to break the focus on it, and you need to do that sustainably. And let me explain this from a more like psychological perspective, why this is so important. Okay. So I'm going to use a very basic example right now, but it's going to illustrate the point and it's going to help this sink in so that you can feel confident in doing this and understand why you're doing it. Okay. So if you've ever studied for a test before, okay, which I know you have, every single one of us have had this experience. This is why I choose this example. So if you've ever studied for a test before and you know the material, but the moment you sit down to take the test, all of a sudden you can't, like, you're out of question. You're like, wait, I know the answer to this. I just can't figure it out, right? And so you try and force the answer. And then what ends up happening is you leave the test and all of a sudden, wow, the answer comes to your mind and you're like, wow, I wish I would have known that in that moment, right? I knew what the answer was, but I just couldn't access the knowledge in that moment, okay? Or another example would be, like I work with a lot of different clients, and it's really fun and interesting to talk to clients that have studied similar topics to me, like biochemistry or just these more complex majors. So if you've ever done like a really complex math problem and you make one little error in the calculation, you get stuck on doing a problem over and over and over again for like 3 or 4 hours until you just reach complete exhaustion and you stop working on the problem, you take a break, you forget about it, and you come back to it the next day and you're able to figure it out, okay? That is what I am talking about. So the thing with these examples is dropping the focus on the test and dropping the focus on like a math problem that you're doing wrong is a lot easier than taking the focus off of money or a specific person or a job, right? Because a problem or a test or whatever, we're not taking that home with us. So the reason why I'm using these examples is so that you can see that what you're really doing when you're deliberately breaking your focus from this problem, from this circumstance in your reality, is you're taking a step back, because in this moment, if there is a problem and you're going over it a million times in your mind, trying to figure it out, you are not within the vicinity of coming into contact with the answer. And in fact, the more that you try and go over it in your mind, over and over it in your mind, it's going to get worse and worse and worse. So there has to be something where you stop thinking about it. Like you take the focus off of it completely, which I know can feel kind of contradicting, because it's like, well, if there's money problems or a problem in a relationship or like work or whatever, like a part of you wants to keep focusing on it because there is this sense of urgency to fix it. But in that state of being, when there is urgency, when there is desperation, when there is need, when there is lack, you are not the version of yourself that's within the vicinity to access the answer, either materialize it to you, attract it to you, come into the conscious awareness of it. And so you're going to spiral out and you're going to see that it keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Okay. Now, the other thing from a manifestational perspective is the more that you focus on circumstances and problems and all the things that are going wrong in your life, the more you're going to get evidences of that in your reality. Wherever your awareness goes, creates, gives more energy. Okay. So what do I do when I find myself in this circumstance? Okay. I double down, I buckle down, and I get very, very disciplined with breaking my awareness from that problem. And again, a specific person, money, career, this is going to be something that requires a little bit more discipline than forgetting about like, oh, I'm messing up on this problem. Because when you go home or whatever else you're doing, like it's something that is so close to home that your mind wants to keep thinking about it. Okay. And so a lot of what I'm talking about on my channel is for you to stop focusing on the problem so that you can get into a new state of being, a new awareness of your reality where you can attract the solution to you, where you can access the answer a lot more easily. And you're going to see that when you shift your state of being, this actually happens. And that's what a lot of people are getting successes on. In my success stories in my community tab or in the comments, it is not because they keep focusing on the problem and flipping their thoughts. It's because they're dropping the awareness and moving on with their day and building good beliefs, because that's what you would be doing in the end state too. So I'll see I don't want to say a lot of people, but I'll see people saying like, I'm waiting for my person to reach out to me. And that to me says you're not in that state of being to really materialize that. Like you're trying to convince yourself that it's done. You're trying to convince yourself that you're in this stable state of being. But if you're noticing lack or you're feeling like you're waiting for something, you're not actually in that state of being. You're just trying to convince yourself that you're there. Okay. And I just want to be honest about that, because the moment we get honest with ourselves is the moment we can actually make changes and create the life that we want. Okay. So I made a post in my community tab today, and the quote says, "All that I want is coming to me now. In the meantime, I'm too busy being the best me to notice anything or anybody's absence." I can't tell you how much I have manifested in my life by applying that one quote right there. So I'm going to read it again. "All I want is coming to me now. In the meantime, I'm too busy being the best me to notice anything or anybody's absence." When I manifest things, for me, it's more of a decision now. So I'm not like super huge on affirming during the day, or I don't really like techniques. I'm not a big visualizer. I don't like scripting. I just don't. And this is also too why I don't have a Facebook group, because you have to see like what you're doing in a moment to moment to moment to moment basis is either being the version of yourself that has or being the version of yourself that doesn't have. And if you're in a Facebook group for how to manifest something, that is not what you would be doing in the end state. Okay. So when I manifest things, essentially what I do is I get really, really busy with my life, and I prioritize doing things that feel good and drop the negative attachment to whatever it is that I am creating, because attachment, in my opinion, is where your manifestation will come to a screeching halt. Okay. Negative attachment. Negative attachment is when you're thinking about it all the time, when you're worried about it all the time, when you're anxious about it all the time, when you can't do anything but think about this thing. That is a negative attachment, and that is going to be where your manifestation starts to halt. Okay. What is a healthy attachment? A healthy attachment is when something comes into my reality, I get to enjoy it when it's here. And then when it's not my reality, I can go do anything else, feeling good, working out, living my best life, making lunch, and enjoying my reality, and knowing that that thing is consistent and I don't need to worry about it. And so again, this is where you have to really see what is living in the end. Well, living in the end of whatever it is that you want to create is a really relaxed state of being. So I was like talking to a client the other day, and they are on the path to becoming a music artist. And we were talking about becoming a Grammy award-winning soulful singer. Right. And I used an example of Billie Eilish. So Billie, if you ever watch this video, what's up, girl? Not that like, I don't know, maybe she would one day. Okay. But the example that I was using in that was Billie Eilish, I can guarantee you, is not every day affirming in, I am a Grammy award-winning artist. I'm a Grammy award-winning artist. I'm a Grammy award-winning artist. She's not doing that. I can guarantee you what she's doing is making a sandwich and just enjoying her life and relaxing and knowing that it's done and knowing that when she wants to produce music, she can do it and she's not too worried. She's pretty relaxed. She's pretty confident. She's pretty calm, right? So the first step to aligning to what it is that you want to create is how you're showing up in a moment to moment to moment to moment to moment basis. Where is your awareness? If your awareness is on a problem, on how somebody or something is not texting you, on how all these things are going wrong, you are not in the end state. That's just not what you would be doing. You wouldn't be feeling anxious about this person or any of that stuff. And I say this with so much compassion and love because I would not wish that anxious state of being on my worst enemy. It's actually torturous, and I feel for you guys that are there because I've been there so many times, and it's horrible. It's horrible to be thinking about something every single day, to be anxious about it, to be crying about it, to be feeling hopeless. Like, it's really a horrible, horrible, horrible state of being. And that is why I get on here and I make this content to help you guys, because I get it. And I don't want anybody to go through that experience. Like, it's really horrible. Okay. Like, legit. So if that's where you are and I'm saying these things, please know that what I'm saying here is to help you so that you can shift yourself and get what you want, and also be mentally stable, emotionally stable, happy in your reality, and getting what you want, because this actually does work if you really listen to what I'm saying. You don't want to be obsessing over something all day long. The whole it's done thing is so that you can drop your awareness of it and shift your focus somewhere else and actually align to that version of yourself. Okay, so now that I said that, we're 11 minutes into this video. Let me explain what I do when I am in a really resistant state of being. And this works every single time, but it requires a lot of discipline. So I've been posting this on my Instagram story. If you've been following me on Instagram, then you've been seeing it. And you're probably going to see this and you're gonna be like, how is this going to materialize what I want? I'm going to explain it to you. Okay. So what I will do, especially if I'm in a really resistant state of being, is I get extra as fuck. Okay. I will plan my whole day out. I will even plan what I'm going to eat for the day. And I will make sure that my mind has no opportunity, no idle time, no awareness of the problem or the circumstance of my reality, because I am too busy doing other things. This is really, 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 really important, you guys. Okay. I'm going to explain why this works and what you're doing. Okay. So when it comes to manifestation, really what you're doing is you're stabilizing into a new state of being, okay? And in this new state of being and this new awareness of your reality, that problem doesn't exist. And so if your mind is constantly circling on the problem, and then you try and step in with affirmations to change that problem, you're still focusing on the problem. What I find more useful is doing something called gapping your awareness, okay? So for instance, on this to-do list, what I'll do, okay, so I'm just gonna read it here, is I will make it super basic. So this is, again, not about becoming a triathlete and like climbing Mount Everest and like doing all this super, super extra stuff, but like it is pretty extra, okay? So I'm writing down my breakfast, my lunch, my dinner. And then on my to-do list, I'll put things like making my bed, my morning routine, sessions, doing the dishes and trash, doing the laundry, going to the gym, emailing clients. I'll do breath work 3 times a day, meditation 3 times a day, which I'm going to explain that in a second. My night routine, a journal entry, reading for 30 minutes, and bed by a certain time. Okay. And then I have all my meals planned out. So essentially, I'm putting a structure to my day so that I have no time to focus on the problems. Now, what happens when you're doing this is at first your mind is going to be resistant to this, because even when I've done this in a resistant state of being, like let's say I'm going to the gym and I notice that my mind is still thinking about the problems, like as I'm listening to music, then this totally sucks. And I hate when I have to do this. I don't want to use the word hate. I strongly dislike, but let's say I'm in a really resistant state of being and I'm doing these other things and I'm still thinking about the problems. Then instead of listening to music during my workout, I will literally put on affirmations and force myself to repeat the affirmations while I'm working out, which totally ruins the workout. It is not fun. It's so much more fun to listen to music, but you have to be really, 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 really aware of where your mind is. And this is about implementing things to break the awareness of these circumstances and these problems. So what happens is, let's say for like the first day, you wake up and you do breath work for 10 minutes. So for 10 minutes, your mind is not thinking about the problems. Okay. So now you've gapped your consciousness for 10 minutes and you're in a stable state. Then you move on with your day. You go to the gym for an hour. For an hour, you are not thinking about your problems. So you've gapped your consciousness for another hour where you're just doing another task. Then when you get done from the gym, you go and make lunch and you're listening to affirmations, and that another 30 to 45 minutes, you have gapped your consciousness again, where you're not thinking about the problem. Okay. Then as you sleep at nighttime, you're sleeping with beliefs on, which are causing your mind to not think about the problem too. So what you start doing is deliberate things that deliberately gap your consciousness so that you stop focusing on the problem. And what happens is, as you get very, very, very disciplined with this, you start to naturally align to that state of being where your mind is no longer thinking about the problem. The fastest I've done this in is 3 days, okay? And if you actually apply what I'm talking about here, you're going to see that by the end of the 3 or 4 days, you don't even really care about the problem anymore. It doesn't have the emotional impact on you. You're feeling so good. You have a whole routine down for yourself, and you have completely shifted your state of being into a new state. And that is where you start to get movement in your reality. This is the momentum like building effect that I talk about in my content, that as you establish this new routine, you're going to start to see things manifest into your reality. Now, what some people make the mistake of doing is, as they get movement in, so let's say it's a specific person, they start texting you and reaching out to you, then you start regressing and going back to focusing on them and thinking about them all the time. No, you need to keep going with this routine where you're forming healthy attachments, okay, where you're doing these other things, and then it's coming into your reality. You're enjoying it when it's there, and then when it drops, like whatever, they get busy or whatever the fuck they're doing, you keep on going on with your day and you keep yourself busy, because that is what you would be doing in the end state. Okay, in the end state, when you have what you want, you just have a normal routine to your day. You're doing things that feel good. You're taking care of yourself. You're confident. And then you're enjoying things as they manifest into your reality, and you're in a very stable and knowing state. So if I am in a lot of resistance, like let's say something really undesirable pops up in my reality, I get super, 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 super disciplined with this. Like, I do breath work at least 3 times a day. And the little meditations that I have written here, they're 10-minute meditations where I will either throw on like an affirmation track or binaural beats, and I will deliberately drop the problem or the circumstance from my awareness and just affirm in, I am worthy, I am stable, I am secure. I'll pick a few affirmations that really soothe me, that take the focus off of the problem. So again, the whole point of this here is you're going to shift into a version of yourself that is not distressed by the problem anymore. And as you build momentum around this new version of yourself, that is where then, as you start to get movement in your reality, it's going to be really easy for you to build new assumptions. So if your person starts coming in and texting you and saying, hey, I really miss you, I want to talk to you, it's going to be really easy for you to make a new assumption of, oh, they totally love talking to me, this is totally working, because you're getting the evidences of it in your reality. So the whole approach here is to drop the awareness of the problem, create a schedule for your day, sleep with the beliefs on at nighttime, and anytime that your mind wants to think about the problem, anxiety, issues, you do not allow it to go there by placing your focus on being busy with something else until you start to get movement in your reality. Then it's going to be really easy for you to insert in these new assumptions and watch them manifest. Okay. So you do want to get disciplined with this. And another thing that I want to say here too is, when things manifest, you guys, you do not want it, or let's say like something weird pops up. So for instance, when I changed my relationship with money, I did the same exact process, you guys. So you have to cut out all the lack behaviors. I cut out like checking my bank account anxiously. I cut out like checking price tags when I was going to the grocery store or like Target or anything like that. You have to become very, very aware of how you're showing up in this moment and deliberately cut out any lack behaviors. That's why I say too, don't be posting things on Instagram to try and get their attention. Stop waiting for text messages. Stop allowing yourself to do these lack behaviors. You have to get disciplined because you're going into a new version of yourself. In order to manifest, you have to actually become that version of yourself, like legitimately. Again, this is why I don't have a Facebook group, because I want you guys to just come on here, listen to this YouTube stuff, and keep it moving with your day. Do not join, in my opinion, do not join a Facebook group, because then what you're going to be doing is talking about your problems all day long. And that's not what you would be doing in your end state. So drop all that, drop anything that symbolizes lack or trying behavior, and put all your attention on doing things that feel good, that prioritize you. Okay. Now, again, with money, let's say like, as I was changing my relationship with money, for 2 or 3 days, money is coming into my reality. And then for like 3 or 4 days, there's no movement. Like, I'm not really seeing a lot of movement in my reality. In those 3 or 4 days, so this applies to a specific person too. Let's say they're reaching out to you, and then for like a few days, they kind of go silent. In those 3 or 4 days, you do not think that you have a limiting belief or a block or something that is messing up your manifestation. You do not go in that direction, okay? There's no more limiting beliefs. There's no more problems. You're good. You're sleeping with the beliefs on at nighttime. You're good. So what you want to do, it may come into your awareness of like, oh, I'm not really seeing a lot of movement in my reality right now. But what you want to do is the moment that comes into your awareness is you go, oh, no, you know what? I'm going to drop that. I'm going to go do something else today. That is done. I don't even need to worry about it. What else can I do right now that feels good, where I can stabilize myself and feel trusting? Because the version of me that has what I want is not going to be stressed out about that. And so you have to genuinely align to that version of yourself, and it has to be deliberate during the day too. You have to be disciplined with yourself, okay? And you're going to see that as you do that, wow, you start getting a lot of very consistent manifestations coming into your reality because you are fully assuming that version of yourself. It has to be a genuine alignment, okay? Alrighty, so I hope you found some value out of this. Thank you for all the people that are here. Thank you for all the thumbs up. You can totally do it. And I do want to say, there's going to be moments where you struggle with this. So you guys, when I've done this before, like when I'm in a really resistant state of being and I'm like being super extra as fuck and writing my whole to-do list, I will look at that to-do list and I'll be like, hell fucking no, I don't want to do any of that. I don't want to do any of it. But I force myself to do it because after I do it, I feel so much better and then I start stabilizing and I'm not like, you know, feeling frozen in my reality and anxious and disturbed by the things that are going on. And then I start getting movement. So a lot of this is about really checking yourself. Again, too, in the end state, you would just be taking care of yourself. So if you're manifesting a relationship, well, you wouldn't be sitting here feeling anxious and affirming for them all day long. You would be waking up, making your bed, you know, like taking care of yourself, getting your laundry done, getting your dishes done, going to the gym, feeling good with yourself, like you reading, developing yourself, like that's what you would be doing in the stable, secure relationship. So you want to align to that version of yourself before it manifests, and then it starts to manifest as you become that version of yourself, okay? Sleeping with the beliefs on at nighttime really speeds up this process. What I'm talking about here is what you can add in on a conscious day-to-day, moment-to-moment basis, because essentially you don't want to allow your mind to go to the problems at all, okay? And you don't even you don't want to flip the problems in your mind either. So if you're thinking about something negatively, do not flip it. You need to drop the awareness of it completely until you create a routine to where you're able to just form assumptions without any sort of contradiction or circumstance or problem in your awareness. If there's a problem in your awareness, then you need to drop that and build a new routine until you stabilize and feel good. And there's no more notion of problem in your awareness, because that's not what you would have in your end state. There would be no problem. Okay. So this is where you have to become very, very honest with yourself about your awareness. Because if there's a problem in your mind and you're trying to tell yourself that it's done, but you're trying to convince yourself that it's done and you're still thinking about all the problems, then you're not actually in the end state, which means you want to build some more discipline into your reality so you can drop this notion of a problem so that you can actually align to this version of yourself. Okay. All right. I love you all so much. Have a beautiful weekend, and I will see you all later. Bye.